Take that, take that, take that. 50 months in prison for Sean P. Diddy, Puffy, whatever the hell you call it, Combs, man. So the judge, even though it's not a maximum sentence, but it's still injustice sentence. I think the judge is a sucker. This is what I talk about. People who just walk around going through life, receiving the educations, but they are certified suckers. They have no understanding on life. They receive things that are brought down by legislative branches that are full of suckers, and then they want to paint people in certain light. So as far as being sentenced for pimping, and this woman Cassie, who is really a prostitute, but in a different light. Like, how is she's not being forced into having sex? I think she was voluntarily having sex, and I think Puff was paying the people to fuck the chick. I mean, like, what kind of shit is that? It wasn't like she was getting paid or he was receiving payment for her services. They were actually paying other people, or maybe I just don't get how the sentence for this case, was one about being a pimp and a prostitute, and then the judge in there talking about this was a message sent to abusers and for victims. Well, Cassie is not a victim. Cassie is a victim of being beat up in a hotel, but the case doesn't surround her getting her ass whooped. But one thing it has to be, has to be a real lesson to people like Puff, to his children, especially his sons, and then how you deal with people, how you let people exist within your realm, how far you let people take you to getting anger, the importance of being sober and staying away from the use of drugs, staying away from the overconsumption of alcohol to where it inebriates you and where you're making decisions that you would not make in your right mind, and being in a drunken state or a narcotic state or a drug state can cause you to go about doing acts that is unlike what most people know you to be. And so that's where he really gets himself caught up in, with the fact that he started getting off into the drug addiction, the heavy narcotics. He got a woman that's in the drug addictions, along with being a nymphomaniac freak. Freakazoid is what she was, and that fool was as well. And he got himself caught up when this chick money ran low. And the fact that she got nothing out of their situation, she turned in something else. And then the ace in the hole was the fact that he put hands on her when he whooped her ass in that hotel. That's where things just went to where it really painted him in a bad light. And then for her to be able to bring a case like this against him when she's just as guilty of whatever they were trying to convict him of, but can go out and play victim, is just a sad day within the American justice system. Like, very, very sad, very, very sad day with the American justice systems, and the way in which they go about trying to target this crap that they call trafficking. One of the most bogus things I've ever heard in my life, as far as uh, uh, court convictions or anything brought to a court, is the labeling of this stuff called sex trafficking, where you have so many of these chicks who volunteer themselves into this. This is the route in which a lot of American women are going down, this path of sex work. The fact that many of them don't want to work for these corporations, they don't want to work for many of the companies out here, for the fact that companies are underpaying people, overworking them. These girls go out here because there's so many dudes who are so unfaithful in their relationships, especially the married ones, who go out here, pull up to a street corner, find a scantily clad women walking up and down the streets, and they'll pay for their services for a few minutes, an hour, half a day, few hours in a day. They will pay for them services. And so that's really where we see the nation going. But you can't make drastic changes into the nation, a nation that refuses to pay people, a nation that refuses to help people get ahead. That a lot of these girls is turning out, doing these tricks, and it pays off. A lot of them find things, certain nights, certain weeks can be very lucrative to them. And then you look at them amongst their peers, where some of their people who are working in 9 to 5 jobs, but what's the one thing that people can praise about what they get from a job is some of the benefits, medical benefits, retirement benefits, and all this other shit. When some of these chicks can go out in a day and earn what some people earn in a damn month. So those are some of the things that are pushing women towards these paths, and especially a lot of women are coming out of these broken households. Poverty is a thing that is widespread throughout this damn country, and it leads a lot of these chicks into these paths. And the fact that when a lot of the women look into what comes up out of their households, look at relationships, a lot of these girls are kind of broken away from how they view men. A lot of these women who go into that shit view men in such negative lights. And I don't know where the hell that shit comes from, but it ain't just no new thing. It ain't just like we arrived here at this moment. This has been something that's been transpiring for several damn decades, probably even half a goddamn century, if not a whole century, that have shifted the mindset of women. This ain't a black thing, because some people turn into this a black woman thing. White women are probably even worse with it. And when you look up anything as far as where they go with sex, you pull up porn, they're all throughout that shit. You walk up and down whole strolls, they're all up and down and throughout that shit. So it ain't a black thing, everything negative gets spun inside the media cycle as being something negative reported by black folks, and it ain't the case. And that's what I'm always here to shift that narrative and bring a true narrative to these conversations. And then Mark Summers says these girls didn't have the opportunity, he says, to work for corporations. Yeah, right. That girl career started off with a corporation called a record label, dummy. And then Lyson Cletus says that Mark Sumner says the man was convicted of simple prostitution. Since when does that carry a 4-year sentence? Right. This judge talking about he making a statement to send to other abusers when this chick wasn't even a fucking abuse. This chick was a voluntary nymphomaniac whore. Says those girls were codependents. Yeah, co-defendants shit is what they should have been. Like there was nothing real criminal. Yeah, there you go, make them correction. They co-defendants. Like there's nothing criminal about this case. And I wouldn't be surprised if they make a run to this retarded ass president and Donald Trump wipes everything away with the sentencing and release this fool. It says unwilling participants. Yeah, that's what it was. So in 50 months, man, we gotta have the Diddy party, man. Return to that shit. Bring the bad bitches, keep them homo motherfuckers away from that shit. Keep it strictly with bad bras. Keep the drugs up out of there. Keep the liquor down to a minimum, and keep all the suckers that flip their back on you away from that shit. Says Diddy was involved in so many shootings. Man, get the hell out of it, man. So was John Gotti. You don't say shit about white ass John Gotti. Says very likely involved in Biggie. There you go, a white dude talking this so uneducated, always in black people business, white talk. How about you talk about the shit John Gotti was involved in? While y'all sat, your grandparents and parents probably sat through his case acting like he was innocent. The free John Gotti, the Teflon Don, all this other dumb shit y'all be on. And then Lyson Clear says no accountability for these pros, laugh out loud. Or was the pros supposed to be short for prostitutes? Says and then let's see, Lyson Cletus says, don't write too many comments. Says Mark Summers again says he was convicted of simple prostitution. Right. Not no murders or none of that. He ain't did no John Gotti stuff. Says I never prayed to God. Says I prayed to Gotti. Oh look, he trying to put a rap lyric in it. That was what Italians did. Y'all pray to John Gotti and praise everything he did, all the vicious crap he did as an immigrant, seeking asylum from the war-torn nation of Italy. And then they bring that war-torn shit over to America, and then they praise it, put them in movies, highlight them, glorify them in movies. So, I mean, come on, homie, you in the wrong channel, Mark Summers. You got to go to a retarded black folks channel. You got to remember it. Even though I cuss, love to talk about women and all that other stuff, and speak on things that goes on in American cities and all that stuff, doesn't mean that I'm part of the ignorant class of people. I didn't grow up in no trailer park. And then Mark Summers says, no, says Jay-Z says, and the blacks did that. And then, no, we didn't play for no John Gotti. That's all out of your neighborhood. That's why y'all make movies about them. Scorsese and them do movies about them. Polanski does movies about them. Y'all folks glorify that dumb shit. And then remember, the victims look just like you. They look just like John Gotti. And then Lyson Clear says, Mark Summers says, blacks says, let your true colors come out, sucker. Laugh out loud. No, Mark be mad that he comes over here, he hears shit that he's never heard in that community he comes from. the community, which is like Disneyland for the brains of these people who really need therapy. The fact that they hide from what is true. It's why they create magical kingdoms full of unmagical shit to help them deal with the weak ass psychology of the twisted shit that they have done to set shit backwards. And then to scapegoat themselves from feeling bad about the evils and ills of the people before them, they say, let's place it on the blacks. And then some blacks sit back silently and be like, yeah, there is something really wrong with us, without having no understanding of shit, because they have been truly classed as dumbasses. And that comes from the people who come before them, and then they pass it on to the younger generations behind them. And I refuse to be part of any of that shit. So I stand firm to being in my own true way of thinking, gaining knowledge on shit and the understanding of what is what. But in this case with this crap, that little she's a pretty ass broad, but she ratted out. And a lot of people become, kind of enamored by that shit. They look at a woman's beauty and think she can do no wrong, and she this and that. Man, there be some of them, you can get some of them type of pretty bras to do some of the most ratchetest, low down, hood rat ass shit. Mark Summers says you got a minivan. Absolutely, man. I'm in a Chrysler Town and Country. I'm in a 19 no, this is a 2002 Chrysler Town and Country. Yes, no D. You just want to see what I drive. And then License Clear says Mark Summers, but I'm not a show off. I don't do all that showing off shit. Mark Summers says, I bet, says if Billy Joe says, or Mick Jagger says was found guilty, says you wouldn't be saying any of that, this trash. Yeah, they don't say it when, because they didn't bring the charges on the Johnny Cash's, there was a song I was listening to from one of them old white bands. It was talking about she was 16. What was the name of this song? Damn, I was playing that shit yesterday. And I was tripping like, wait, what the hell they singing this shit for? This girl, she was sick. What was she, 16 or 17? They kept reciting the damn chorus. And he says, Brokeback Mountain Ridge. Man, I'll leave that to your dad, homeboy. That's where your family came from. So your dad did not produce you. Your mom went to a sperm bank and she was just married to that motherfucker can't producing ass chump. And the Behold says, wouldn't be surprised if Diddy dropped a few dimes, says, to get a reduced sentence. Nah, he ain't do none of that shit. Who we gonna drop a dime on? You ain't go off and snitch on nobody in this case and then get yourself free. Like that's what Italians do. Italians do that kind of shit. Mark Summers says, and fake ass black gangsters do that. Battalions do that kind of rat shit, and then fake black cats who want to be gangsters and act like menaces in their communities until they behind the they're behind the scenes in some interrogation room. And then Mark Summers says, Beauty Queen says only 17. Well, I think that might be the song. So that you listen to pedophilia music. You knew the song. You knew the title of that song. License Cleveland says, Behold, says, why would Diddy says have to cooperate to shave time off a simple prostitution charge, fool? Because these fools don't be knowing what they be saying. They just get on the internet and spew what's common filth of the internet. They don't be doing nothing. These fools just bozos, homie. They like this judge. They like to judge in this case. But the one thing I can say, the judge didn't give him the 11 years they asked for. I think his team asked for like a year and a half or something. He may end up getting that shit. But who knows what kind of time Trump on, because Trump is really on putting the middle finger up to the American system. So he might let Puff out. Because right now, Donald Trump don't give a fuck about anybody in this country. He don't give a damn about this government being shut down, and he may not give a damn what that judge put as a sentence. And then that's like crazy that he even got like supervised probation when he get out. Marcelo says it's a classic song. Says I know music, says not just blacks. Now pedophile music. You was listening to that shit. And then it says, but I know that too. And then let me see. Let me skip that one. Let me see. I ain't gonna go through too many comments. And then Behold says how we get 4 years, says on a film simple prostitution charge, says light skin. Now that judge trying to set an example to use Puff as an example for people out here pimping. And I don't think people are going to stop any of that shit. That's what brings money to people, being the fact that there's hardly any way for people to get money that's worth a damn without people wanting to take risk and chances. And that's what people are doing out here in American society. Anthony Jones says Diddy got off light. Said we being honest. No, absolutely, absolutely. But I thought he would have got like time served or some shit. But I guess is this a federal case or whatnot? I guess they don't do that shit. And then Mark Sumner says like Too Short, says like Too Short, the song Hoes. He says if it bleeds, says they can fuck. Says if it bleeds, they can fuck. He talking about, oh yeah, on that shit. Says so much of that in the black community, says, and in rap. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. There's a lot of pedophilia shit with a lot of folks, but it was big in y'all music. Rock and roll, if you understood the words in it, they probably talking child predator shit in y'all music. That old radical ass uncomprehendable heavy metal and all that other shit you little garage band boys listen to. Probably got all that type of filthy shit into it. But nobody listens to it. Y'all just hear the drum on it. But I guess lyrically, they probably talking a bunch of weird shit. Probably mutilating cats and dogs, humping goats, uh, plotting your parents' murders, and all that other type of shit. Because she took a video game controller from you. Clea says the judge deviated from the sentencing guidelines. And yeah, the judge and even the judge comments like talking to the victims. Who are the fucking victims? Who are the damn victims in this case? Like, get the fuck out of here, judge. You old weenie ass fool. The judge probably out there picking up prostitutes on the damn streets. And he says, no, wrong. No, I'm always right, Mark. Some of you know that's what comes out of y'all music. Music you can't comprehend. Y'all just dress weird, dress like little broads and shit. But folks, that's all I got on this one, man. Get back to the party, get back to life. Shit on that broadcasty. She got 30 million. This fool's still wealthy. Family still able to roll in style, still able to sustain the money that he's built for his dynasty, and the fact that it goes into this family. These kids can go get top-notch education. The young boys have to learn a lesson on what kind of broads they choose, because ultimately a broad that they seen, that they grew up around, that their dad had around, is the one who brings him down. But it's also Puff fault as well. Puff ain't, and that's the thing why it's so crucial for young dudes to live life on some player shit. A player ain't about putting your hands on a woman. It ain't even about having to disrespect a woman, but you put a woman in her place when she get the fuck up out of it without touching her. Words are very effective at that, and actions. Words and actions are very effective. And the action is, broad, I'm gonna cut you off. You outro, you go move on. That's the action. The action is never striking, no broad. The action is never needing to really cuss them out or mentally abuse them. You can cuss them the fuck out, let them know what it is, and put it there. But the thing is, never to waste your energy of going back and forth verbally with somebody that is not worth it. Somebody that brings nothing to the table. That broad couldn't even bring a good record to the table, let alone you putting your hands on it, which is crazy. And that's ultimately what brought them down, bring many of these dudes down, is the fact they lack the ability to stay player at all time. You got to live life as a player. You got to know how to navigate through this life as a fucking player. And that's really what it cost them. Should never hit that broad. She ran out that hotel room with your shit, but that's the fact that fool's on drugs. You run after, you grab your shit, snatch it, cut the broad off. But this fool pussy was, it's too much cat out here. Motherfucker's crazy. It says raps has the words of messaging, says no question. No, the rap that y'all don't listen to rap. Y'all just go listen to some of these old drug-induced idiots that babble out words over beats who don't rap about shit. And y'all think that's rap music. Like, please. I already see through that shit. They ain't the type of rap people listen to. We listen to the Kendricks and the J. Coles and the Drakes. And he says these YNs, and they not YNs, they're young blacks, young Latinos, young whites, they're youth. But see, even some of the languaging, the type of shit people put on, YN becomes the trendy language that stupid motherfuckers like to repeat. And then those actions for young people want to act on that shit. It brings attention. Says these youth, says running around today, says we're born listening to 50s from the cradles, says listening to 50 from the cradles, says imagine young thug era, says babies being born now. Shit, imagine a Katie Taylor and the Taylor Swift kids being born. They're gonna be the weird ones. Your little boys listen to Taylor Swift be the boys wearing dresses in their cribs right now. So don't talk about rap. You talking about this other shit. Y'all kids, you let your kids, your parents probably let you listen to Lady Gaga. This is why some of you dudes walk around zesty, want to be women and shit, having gender identity crisis because of the music your parents let you listen to. You grew up listening to Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga. What's some of them other weird looking motherfuckers out of that kind of sound of music? So always remember, don't focus on the black music. You focus on the white shit because the issues politically, even when they talk about where y'all outcry about the homosexual shit, that comes up out of white households and the white music. That Nas X shit, that wasn't black music. Nas X audience was white. Never forget that. You want the truth, you're gonna always hear that shit from me. And I'm gonna make it in a joking, I'm gonna put humor on that shit, but it's always gonna be the truth. Salute to the OG Bruce Gas. You caught me right on the way up out of here, man. Y'all catch the replay, and I'll catch you on the next one. Look at Behold talking about you crazy. Says I'm a rap cat since the 86. Man, I don't care what you is. You probably your parents probably were rap people, but you grew up on Lady Gaga and what's that broad mess with the football? Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, and Billy Ray Cyrus, old weird ass daughters. Marilyn Manson. Don't ever put nothing on rap. But I'm out of here. Peace, goddamn it. You see, when Young Thug picked up a dress, you didn't find people following that shit. It ain't in the culture, but it's part of yours. That's all I got. Peace.